Hello again, Ian Stuck with Mastermind Games. It's going to be the last of the Space Marines Heroes videos I do, unless I get my hands on more of these little guys. But it's going to be White Scars, and I'm really tinkering with my lighting quite a bit here, seeing if just saturating the whole area helps any. We'll just have to see. Alright. Leather White 09062. Good boy. Okay. And brush, that one feels right. Going to do over the entire Space Marine, this off-white here. And then I will go from there. Keeping the brush moist, but not overly wet. I'm getting horribly tongue-tied already. And this is a much larger brush than I would normally use for a model this small, but it will get this done quickly. So it'll be fine for this base coat here, which is going to basically cover the entire model. Trying to get every nook and cranny. Alright. I'll let that dry completely and move on in a bit. Alright. Next I'm going to start on the breastplate with Fire Red 09004. We'll see how this goes. No, on second thought, not yet. I just know there's an Aquila on the bolt gun, so we'll do that first with Stormy Gray 09088. And then go back to the red a little later on. Playing around a lot with freehanding on this model. So with the body glove, the holstered bolt pistol. It's got a frag grenade and a crack grenade on the back of his belt. Let's see here, what else before I move on to the meat of it. Nothing else, I guess. Okay. Alright. So, White Scars Primarch Jagati Khan. Especially fast attack. And during the Horus Heresy, while the White Scars were occupied with the Civil War, Horus started. Drakari Raiders, i.e. Dark Eldar Raiders, attacked their home system, taking millions of captives, and according to their stories, by that the stories of the White Scars, Khan was steamed and followed them into the Webway, where he's rumored to be still hunting them down, exacting bloody revenge. Yellowed Bones are on 143. Excuse me, allergy season. And I can tell the difference between allergies and not allergies because only
seasonal allergies make the roof of my mouth itch. Alright. Yeah, I think I'll call that good for now. Get that little bit on the pencil right there, but this needs to dry for a minute, then I can finish up should be able to finish up the last of the base coats in one go. It's a very simple color scheme for the base level of painting, but it's going to get much more complicated when I get to the freehanding. Alright. Chaotic red. Let's put that on the puree seal. Let's go with that. And then uniform gray. This might look a little weird in the end. We'll just see what happens. Might look different enough. It'll be a subtle difference between the bolt pistol and the holster it's in. So, this might look a little odd to have the grenades right next to the belt pouches, but we're just going to roll with this at this point. Now, in terms of White Scars literature, the only book I have read that features any of them prominently is The Rogue Trader Omnibus, where a White Scars, a captain, I believe, or equivalent rank, is working extensively with the Rogue Trader mentioned during the Damocles Crusade into Tau territory when they first emerged. There's a bit of particularly dark humor where, on a raid against a Tau outpost on one of their worlds, the White Scars attack. One of them gets his head blown clean off, and the body keeps running until it hits a wall. Disturbing and amusing at the same time when you think about it. Okay. Now, I'm going to take Fire Red 09004. And with this, I'm going to get 3 things right now. First is the insignia on the chest, which is heavily obscured by the bolt gun right in front of it. There's not much I can do about that. And then, just like I did with the salamander, to show a little better, I'll put it on the bolt gun. Do it on the bolt gun itself in the same color, and this little token on the belt. Alright, and that is going to be base coats. A little bit of red on the mask. Let's just delete that, soak it up with a towel. Kind of worked. Let that dry. When it does, I can start shading. Alright, time to start shading. There we go. Vampire Red. thinning this with 1 part water to 1 part paint into a wash. Applying the red from earlier. It'd be tricky getting the chest iconography at best, so. And red brick 09001. And take a gamble in Stormy Gray 09088. Yeah. No. No, yeah, I need to do this now, but this is, I might have to just do this a second time. You know, I will do this a second time. Oh, great, I got it on the, nicked the muzzle of the mask. Just dilute, absorb, kind of fix that, should be okay. So I'm going to have to do the Stormy Gray twice. And do it once now on the pouches and holsters, and I'll do it a second time after I've painted the armor to do the stonework he's standing on. Alright. Let all that dry completely, and then I can move on. Alright, next. Stained Ivory 09142. Get the parchment coming off that purity seal. And matte black. Now, with particularly dark colors, you're gonna need to use 2 to 3 parts water to 1 part paint. Otherwise, you'll end up completely blocking out your base coat. Which will also mean your highlight's not going to be quite what you want it to be either. Being real careful here around the Aquila. Then the bolt pistol. And the 2 grenades, one frag and 1 crack. And the visible body glove, a little of it there is. I don't know, I guess the elbow, I kind of missed it. It'll turn out reasonably well. Alright, so that just leaves the white. And then the lighting effects in this gray here after I do the white, so just about there. Alright. Linen white 09061. Keeping the brush nice and wet during all of this. And I'll be able to do the lighting effects and the last shade immediately after this dries. Normally I'd need to prep the eyes or any other lit areas with white first, but because it's already white, I won't have to do that. It being an off-white instead of a pure white will not make too much of a difference. So it's getting a nice solid coat here. And well, normally I give Space Marines some different colored trim on their pauldrons. The white scars only have that on the veteran units. I just want to do a basic battle line soldier color scheme here. So I'm not going to do every detail identically to the codex, but I'm going to follow certain commonalities, I suppose is the word I'm looking for. Alright, and I think that's got it, so let that dry up, and I can do the lighting and last shading. Okay, last of the shading and lighting effects. So Fire Orange 09006, this will go on the eyes as the lighting effect. Tiny dot, 2 to 3 parts water to 1 part paint. Lighting effects need to be especially thin. The key to them is for some of that white to show. And going back into Stormy Gray 09088. Get the stonework up. That help just a little bit to soak that up with the brush. And then I'll shade the stonework that this valiant White Scars warrior is charging across. Be careful around the foot that touches down. Okay. Let all that dry completely, and then I can highlight. Looks like I need to get a little more orange in that eye there. Alright. Now let it dry and then I can highlight. Alright, time to highlight. I'm going to start with Ghost White 09063. Ragged feather brush, something along the lines of this. Rub that out on a paper towel till it looks like there's next to nothing left. You're using straight paint nowhere. Lightly dusting the area to be affected, going against any raised areas there. Refreshing the paint as needed. Again, this is an off-white, so it's gonna. Okay. Well, it's still fighting me on the focus. Alright, we'll keep at it. Next, uniform gray. And, yeah, Misty Gray 09090. And I just punched out my camera there. Let's readjust that.
And make sure it's focused or kind of focused.
Okay. So far, so good. Flying paint, creamy ivory 09144. This will cooperate. I just need a tiny dot of this stuff. Alright, it's clogged up, so paper clip down the hole. Keeping an eye on my system because my frame rate dropped hundreds of frames during on that last clip or the one before. Vampire Red. So I'm going to try to avoid that problem again if at all possible. And then, yeah, last highlight's going to be Ruby Red 09101. This is a metallic red, and it's going to be the closest approximation I can get to the red that's on the Aquila on the breastplate. That's not going to be the most visible. It's going to go on the, so we'll just do a bit there. Get the one on the gun. And get that little token off the belt. It's not too bad. It's fairly close, just not that obvious, and the most obvious part of it is hidden. Now matte black. First off, I'm going to use a detail brush and just do a little gun barrel on the bolter there. I think I want to take a little more of that ghost white and just do a little more work on the helmet. Okay, now taking a flat head.
Boy,
this is definitely a step in the right direction, but the focus is still very much fighting me. So matte black, I'm just going to go around the edge of the base with the flat head. This is just going to tidy up all the nicks. And then before I forget that the purity seal has writing on it, I'm going to take that detail brush again. Just I got a little on the powder, so I'll just tidy that up. Now it's fixed. Alright, let that all. And I just put my hands on the part of the base I just finished painting. So let's fix that real quick here. Good grief, this is how this day is going. So just touch that up. And now let it dry come. And this happened. Alright, before something else happens, let this dry, and I can add some iconography.
oh, great, sure. As soon as I turn the camera on, it does this to me. Alright.
Fine. Tell you, the joys of technical difficulty strike again.
Alright.
Vampire red. Actually, no. Sun yellow first. 09008. Because there's a particular part of the iconography here. Which is this yellow hourglass shape superimposed over the lightning bolt. And it's a pretty easy way right there to paint an hourglass shape. And with that said, I can now take Vampire Red and start on the rest of it. So, beginning on the other shoulder, the right. One red arrow to designate a battle line squad. And here's where it gets tricky. I'm going to switch over to a finer detail brush, using just enough water to thin the paint. painting for me, and I'm looking at the codex, which is sitting on the floor next to me. Sharpen that up just a little bit. Then okay, do that. And just carefully fill in this lightning bolt pattern here. Well, not too bad for the first time I've done it. So that's it, a White Scar Space Marine.
Well, I think I'm starting to get the blur issue fixed, but it's still going to take a little more work. Oh wait, I'm not done yet. Oh boy. Oh boy, I'd say it's time to go home and take a break because I already am home. Now I'm going to line the edge of this shape. Boy. Yeah, you know I'm in trouble when I forgot what I just did. So I'm almost done. Alright. This has been awkward on multiple levels. Need to do more work on the blur, but I think I'm heading in the right direction finally. There we go. Now that's got white scars. That shoulder did not turn out too bad. A little awkward on the right pauldron, or right boot, but not too bad on the left knee. So, just about got this blur. I'm getting much closer to fixing this blur issue. Still got a few kinks to work out. The lighting is definitely helping. So I'm just going to have to keep experimenting. But until next time, I'm moving back to Warhammer Quest Blackstone Fortress with the Escalation expansion. Until then, I am Ian Stuckey with Mastermind Games, signing out.